Good people, welcome back to Live Talk with Moses Beauchamp Jr. How's everyone feeling? I'm back with yet another one. Right this moment, we're discussing the fact that the FBI were out there in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood once again. 45 days later, they're back out there asking the neighbors questions about some construction workers that were out there in that area. I'm going to go ahead and share Brian Enton's stream. He broke this a few minutes ago. That's why earlier, remember when I came on earlier and we were talking about the feds being back in Nancy's neighborhood. Yeah, it was true. They were out there. It was that we missed it. Let's see what Brian Anton has to say. I haven't seen this yet. I waited to share it with y'all so I could do my commentary on it as I watch it and share it with y'all. Y'all want to watch it without interruptions? You know what to do. Go to Brian Anton's channel and check it out there without interruptions. So here we go. We're gonna go and share this this screen real quick. Chat room is open. Let's talk about it. The feds were actually out there.
Checking out my show. I really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe. I appreciate your support. Today is day 45 in the search for Nancy Guthrie, which is kind of crazy. It's now officially been about a month and a half since Nancy went missing on February 1st. A couple of new developments today that I've learned about. I have confirmed through sources that the FBI has been back in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood over the last 24 hours or so, going back to neighbors' houses and asking more questions. Some of the things that I know that they're talking about is there's one neighbor that moved out before Nancy disappeared, and they have been asking more questions about that situation. Not to say that that has anything to do with what happened, but that is something that the FBI agents are asking about. And then also, and this I found to be particularly interesting, they are asking about, there's several houses that are under construction in the neighborhood, and they are asking specifically for names of contractors and workers who were working in the neighborhood on those houses, on those construction projects. And I'm talking about like specifics, like they want the names of all the contractors and workers who are working on those houses. And I saw the construction while I was there, just driving around. There are several houses under construction in the area. So that to me is an interesting new nugget that I just found out about today. So I'm going to discuss that and a couple of other new things that I learned about what's going on behind the scenes with the investigation with my friend and former FBI Special Agent Steve Moore. All right, Steve, it's nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. There's a couple of things I wanted to ask you about. I was thinking about you this morning because a few little sort of, I call them nuggets, have come out with the Nancy Guthrie case. The first thing is I'm back home in Florida, but I obviously like made a lot of friends in the neighborhood and stuff. And one of the neighbors texted me this morning. She texted me early. She said, I wanted to tell you that the FBI came over today, had some more questions um, about some things that I saw. They also called my friend who's building a house down the street from Nancy. They wanted to know all of the workers and contractors at that house. Leads me to the conclusion that they are no further along than day two. That's just what she thought. But what I was interested in is they wanted to know all of the workers and contractors from a house that's being built down the street. What does that say to you?
Um, well, obviously, it means they're retracing steps. And, I've used this analogy with you before. Say you can't find your car keys, and you walk through the house or the apartment, you look for where you usually leave them, they're not there. Then you have to go back and you have to retrace and you have to say, hey, what pants were I wearing? Or where's my purse? Or whatever like that. And you go to the second level. When you get down to the third or fourth level, these are things you don't usually check, but you may start pulling cushions off beds or off couches, things like that, and you'll go in deeper and deeper and deeper. And so people say, why didn't the FBI do this already? Because the normal search yields your keys in about 20 seconds. The secondary search yields them in about 2 to 5 minutes. And if you start with undoing um, undoing the couches or the couch cushions in your living room, you'll never get to the bedroom where the keys are. So they are now obviously to the point where they are pulling up cushions in the couch. And I think that would explain they are not actually at day two, though I understand completely why it seems that way. They are where they would have been if all else or all normal searches didn't work.
And just specifically with workers and contractors, like in my neighborhood right now, there's a lot of construction and I mean, there's just an enormous amount of people that come in and out that are working on houses. And you can kind of, I mean, they are not people that I recognize from the neighborhood. They're usually in work trucks, they're in pickup trucks. Um, is there anything specific that stands out to you that they're looking at a house that's being built and trying to talk to all the workers involved? Does that stand out for a specific reason, or do you just think they're trying to cover everything?
No, it does stand out for one reason. And I don't know if you're going to find this fascinating or not, but um, the theory of the crime is a big deal. The theory of the crime informs every other bit of investigation you do. And from the beginning, the theory of the crime has been that this was targeted, that this wasn't a random thing where somebody goes to a house, he doesn't know who he's going to find inside. He's thinking, I'll just get the usual cash in the underwear drawer and some jewelry, watches, something like that. But no, that's not what happened here, according to everything I've seen, and according by this investigation. That the FBI believes. They believe that this is targeted. So then you have to find out um, who would target it, obviously going back to the beginning. But there are two or three areas. Did they target Nancy? Did they target Savannah? Did they target Annie? Uh, they targeted this residence for a specific purpose. I believe 100% they knew that Nancy Guthrie was on the other side of that door when they were trying to cover up the Ring camera. So this goes to the point that while the FBI may have changed their theory of why she was targeted, they have not for 1 minute changed their theory that she was targeted. And so to target somebody, you have to, in some way, shape, or form, come in contact with them.
And you think that leads back to why they're interested in a like a contractor from down the street?
Yeah, I would think so. And not necessarily that there's an indication that any of those contractors have done anything wrong or those workmen have done anything wrong, but they are people who would have very possibly come in contact with Nancy. And I think one of the main things that I would like to find out if they would let me in on the case is how ambulatory was she? How traveling was she? She had a car, um, but she didn't go to church at her local church. She zoomed it with her, or she followed their online services for a church in New York that Savannah went to. So that leads me to believe that she didn't get out of the house as much. So then that complicates things because she doesn't come into contact with that many people. Did she walk every day? What if she walked past the construction site? There's lots of things like that.
Yeah, she used to walk. the neighbors told me. I think like years ago, there was actually a group of them that would all walk together, and she was part of
Yeah,
that group. But I think it's been a while. I mean, I think her health has
yeah.
really been, even some of the neighbors told me like they were kind of worried about her sometimes, like they didn't see her coming out of the house as much, that kind of thing.
Right, right. And so then that would lead one to believe that maybe it was somebody who came into the house, or came to her house, or, you know, this kind of thing happens. I mean, you've probably seen this kind of thing where you get a door knock and somebody says, "Hey, I'm cutting trees down the block," and I thought, while I'm here, I can give you a deal and cut some of your trees. Or do you need a gardener or anything like that? She doesn't have to get out necessarily for somebody to door knock her. And so, what I would be interested in combination with this, is any solicitors that came by any of the houses in the neighborhoods in the weeks beforehand.
Yeah, and I know most contractors and people working on houses are just doing their jobs and aren't, I mean, it's not like they're bad people normally, obviously. Actually,
Yes,
someone
don't.
emailed me the other day because I was talking about contractors and said, we're contractors, me and my husband, and you gave us a bad rap. Obviously, most of them are good, but it does make sense. Those are like, I was just thinking back to my neighborhood. Those are really the outsiders that come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
they are. And frequently, to the person who contacted you about contractors, I'll agree 100%. I am not casting aspersions on contractors, but there are people who come into neighborhoods specifically to case places who masquerade as contractors.
mm,
Or, and there is no profession that is without its problem child. I mean, the worst spy in the history of the world, I think, came from the FBI internally. So I love the FBI, so I'm certainly not jamming on contractors, but it is possible that somebody at that job site uh, found a reason to go into that house.
something else yesterday, Steve, in my episode, before I left, I interviewed one of Nancy's neighbors who I hadn't talked to before. And she brought up something really interesting, which other people have noticed. On Nancy's front door, and a lot of the houses there have it, it's not a screen door, but it's like a security gate. You know how people have those? And
Oh
so
yeah,
there's a regular door, and then it's like bars. And
yeah,
it has a lock, and I'm told that you have to have a key to lock it from the outside and from the inside.
right, right.
This neighbor had one too, and her theory was the guy who went to the front door, she believes there was someone else already inside the house, and that guy was coming to the front door to help that other person get Nancy out because she just says most people there lock their security door, and there would be no way to get in. That would be very hard to break through the security gate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I've gotten through a bunch of them when I was on SWAT. You have to have special tools, crowbars, things like that, and they're very noisy. Or we had some hydraulic things that moved them out of the way, so they are substantial. But and that's possible. I'm not saying that didn't happen, uh, but my theory on this would be that if a person can get into the house without being seen by a ring camera, then they can get out of the house by being seen by a ring camera. And it would tend to be kind of a goofy move when the guy says, "I'm in," and the camera's in front and I'm in without getting seen. Why would you then send somebody to the front door?
Right. And she may not have locked the security gate. I mean, especially since it takes a key on the inside, maybe she just had it closed. Although when she went home from having dinner at her daughter's, when she was last seen, the garage, it sounds like she would go in and out through the garage because they were able
Yeah.
to tell that the garage opened, which makes me think maybe she did have the security gate locked if she didn't even really use the front door very much.
Well, if the I think that if I remember correctly, her garage is on the side of her house, and so I think it would be longer to go in through the go in around the house and through the front door in the heat, usually in Arizona,
Right.
than it would be to go through the garage and and come in that way. You'd be in the house much faster. So that may be it. The other thing is that people get complacent, and I'm not saying this as a criticism, but because I have to fight this myself. Who's gonna bother me? Who's gonna come into this neighborhood and cause me problems? So I believe that those kind of gates that I'm familiar with, they all had a normal doorknob on the inside and the outside, so you can get in and out if it wasn't locked with no problem. She may have not kept it locked all the time.
All right, guys, I want to introduce you to the sponsor of today's episode, Surfshark. Have you ever tried to watch a video, but it says that you can't watch it because of the country that you are in? Well, Surfshark will definitely solve that problem, and it does so much more than other VPNs. The email scam checker, it will check any email in your inbox to see if it is a scam or a phishing attempt. And you guys know sometimes those are so hard to figure it out, and it finds them for you. There's also this thing called a web content blocker. If you want to make sure your kids don't go to adult sites or gambling sites, it will filter those out for you. What's also so cool is one subscription to Surfshark lets you install and run it on an unlimited number of devices all at the same time. So go to surfshark.com/Entin and use code Entin at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Surfshark has reached the coverage of 100 countries. They are the only VPN to do that, and they were also on PC Mag's list of the best VPNs for 2026. So go to surfshark.com/Entin and use code Entin at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. That is surfshark.com/Entin. If it was locked, though, then why do you think? Do you think that neighbor's theory could be right? Because why else would the guy become? I mean, you'd be able to see the security door. Like, why would he be coming to the front?
I'd have to speculate, but first of all, if it's unlocked by a key from the inside and the outside, and you don't have a key to the outside, you don't have a key to the inside. So how's his friend going to unlock it? That's one thing I would think of.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And so the other thing is, I remember again from SWAT, and it's ironic how many of these things actually transfer across, because we had to get into homes at 3 a.m. at night without arousing suspicion, at least get until the point where we breached a door. And one of the things we would do is, if the bedroom was near the front door, we'd go in the back. If the bedroom was in the back, which is usual, then we'd go in the front door. So it could be that they were trying to get into a door that was farthest from where she would be sleeping. And that would indicate a lot of casing and knowledge of the inside of the home. And the only other people who can read a home very well are contractors, because they can look at the pipes coming out your roof and tell where the bathrooms are. And the bathrooms are usually right near bedrooms. So you can get an idea of where the bedrooms are.
Also, we knew that there was this January 11th date that they were asking neighbors for video from January 11th, which would have been like a couple weekends before Nancy went missing. Now neighbors are telling me that when the FBI is showing back up, they're also asking for video from January 24th, which would have been the Saturday before Nancy went missing, 8 days before, on a Saturday. And one neighbor was telling me that they actually went through her cameras with her, like an agent did, to help.
Good.
And was helping her, and kind of, but like they were that, focused on that date. Like they wanted to look through it with her, and hers just
That's
showed
excellent.
wildlife. And nothing, but they were insistent on that date, January 24th now. What do you think it means? And also, does it mean anything that both of these dates that they've been interested in are on weekends?
It does, and what that might tell me is that the person who was casing the place had a job during the week, and could only get away from work to case the place, and be able to get enough sleep to get back to work in the morning on weekends. So it could be you're looking for somebody who has a Monday through Friday job. that's just a theory, but enough theories come together, and you have a working fact. Um, and so that would be one thing. But obviously, the FBI has some kind of lead tip. I wouldn't think it would be a tip. You wouldn't change your interviews unless the tip was really solid. But they have some kind of lead, some kind of evidence, maybe some film that leads them to believe that the home was cased on those days, or other homes were cased on those days. And that's the other thing you have to think about. Nancy may not have been, depending on what this crime turns out to be, she may not have been the primary victim. She could have been plan B. So it could be that people were going to different houses, and I would assume that the FBI is looking at residents who are similar to Nancy, single elderly woman living at home.
Yeah, and there's a lot of older people around there. Is it a bad sign though that they keep visiting the same neighbors? The FBI. I mean, should that lead us to believe that they're not making much progress?
I I don't think so. I mean, it doesn't sound like wildly, it doesn't sound like progress so strong it's hard to keep track of. Hopefully, they're making some progress, and that's just going to be your litmus test for if we're doing anything right. You have to make some progress somewhere. But I liken it to doing a jigsaw puzzle, and you say, "Oh, I've got a piece here, that shows the corner of a building. So now I'm looking for other pieces with the corner of the building." And so you give up for a while, and you put that piece down, and you go, "You know what? I'm going to look for corners of the building again." And so you try to start looking at other pieces of evidence. The other thing you do is you change your investigative team sometimes, investigative styles, and other people have different investigative philosophies. I will investigate different than even my closest FBI friend. They have a different way of doing it. And so some people may come in and just do it differently.
Yeah, I guess just a fresh set of eyes kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I had reported a couple weeks ago that they were using polygraphs to clear people in the case. And the sheriff was quick to come out and say, "Oh, that's not true. People just saw polygraphs at our building because they were doing like new hires that day." But that actually wasn't my report. Like that wasn't my source that it was even coming from the sheriff's office. It was actually the FBI doing the polygraphs. And it's interesting.
Yeah.
I noticed Megyn Kelly reported yesterday that that Nancy's family members were specifically cleared because they all passed polygraphs. I didn't have that part of the reporting. I just knew that they were clearing people in general with polygraphs, but she's reporting that it's actually the family members. Um, did you ever do polygraphs? Like was that something that was part of your investigations in the FBI?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the polygraph itself is usually only the actual test itself is, I would say, less than half of its value. It is the realization of the person who you want to polygraph that we will likely be able to tell if they're lying or not. And so that causes them at that point, especially if you come up to a family member and you used to broach it like this, you'd say, "Listen, my job is to catch the person who has your mother or may have harmed your mother. And the problem is, statistically, it's usually a family member. So help me eliminate you so I can get to the real work. Help me get through this as fast as possible because it's just slowing down finding the real person who did it." Then you get 3 polygraphs in there, and you talk to them before and after the polygraph, and those interviews before and after are as important or more important than the polygraph itself.
What do you mean by that? Like why were the interviews after more important?
A person who believes that they might not pass a polygraph is going to behave differently than somebody who has nothing to do with a crime. Person who has nothing to do with a crime might be slightly nervous about taking a polygraph, but you set them at ease and you do all this, a person who is afraid of being caught is going to show all sorts of psychological and even physical tells. You might see them sweating. You might see them, their knees bouncing or something like this. And then in the interview, you're going to go over all the questions you're going to ask. And I don't want to give away techniques or something, but you can go in and say, is there anything about this that makes you nervous? Because I see you there's some stress here. How can I make you feel better? What question bothers you? So maybe you and I can change the question so that you're not worried about it. And you can delve pretty quickly into why they're nervous. And frequently that will tell you things that are important. And you can use the opportunity to say, now listen, if I was testing the person here who was afraid they might get caught on this, I would want them to know that they have options, that they could make deals, they can do this. This isn't, polygraph or die. This is, let's get through this. And those are as valuable sometimes. In fact, most of the time in a criminal case, I think those are more valuable than the actual results, because the actual results are not admissible in court. The interview before and after are.
If has anyone ever failed a polygraph and then do they ever not tell them because they don't want them to know? Like then you just know, oh, maybe this person is a suspect, but you don't actually tell them that they
Yeah.
failed?
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, absolutely true. I'm not lying.
Yeah, yeah.
You, uh, the polygraph is your tool, not theirs. And if the polygraph will work for you in a way that is helpful, that's what it's there for. It is not a defense tool. It is not a defense attorney tool, a prosecutor. It's an investigative tool. And so you will use the results of the polygraph or protect the results of the polygraph as best you can, because if they come up deceptive, it never says you're lying, but if they come up deceptive, then you may or may not want them to know that.
Do they ask normally, well, how did I do or what happened? I mean, I
They
would be
always ask.
curious.
They always ask. They always ask. It's kind of like doing an MRI and you say, well, did you find anything? Oh,
Right.
we got to read it. I'm
Yeah.
not the guy who reads it, this kind of stuff. And so that's, the correct answer. Ouch. Correct answer and a true answer. You have to read it. You have to analyze it. It doesn't just have these things where if you cross a line and it turns red and you're lying. That's cartoons. But if you, you do have to read it. I think though, during the polygraph, you got an idea.
Okay. So yeah, the fact that there's now this reporting that the family passed polygraphs, that's for you a pretty good sign. I mean that is that reason. I mean, the sheriff came out and said the family's cleared officially,
Yeah.
period. That would
And
probably weigh. I'm sure that weighed into that decision.
if the sheriff says it, I'm not confident just because he said it. I would have to have some kind of validation because the sheriff has said things that I don't believe to be accurate. So that doesn't help me. The sheriff also would know that you never say somebody passed or failed a polygraph. It is not a pass fail. It is a continuum between deception and non-deception, essentially, and it can go all over the place during the time. And so what you say is it's either testing, and the word may not even be deceptive, but it's in the category. They're either deceptive or inconclusive, something like that. And if somebody says if somebody tests as inconclusive, you can't say that they failed it. You can't say that we think now that they're a suspect. But one thing I wouldn't believe for sure is that they are cleared.
Hmm. How does
And
it
I
work?
don't know what their tests were.
How does it work? I mean, they obviously come in when you're the agent. Or is it an FBI agent asking the questions?
It is, but it's a trained polygrapher, and I was not a trained polygrapher. I was trained to work with the polygraphers, and they set it up. They read it. They have much more knowledge than the average investigation, and they are very good interrogators. That is
So you
part of their
wouldn't ask the
training.
questions as the agent. Would you just sit there, or
I wouldn't be in the room.
so
I
you wouldn't?
leave the.
Okay,
I would talk to the agent. Who was giving the polygraph, and he and I or she and I would meet and probably discuss these things for an hour, go through the questions and say, this is what I want. What are you aiming at here? What are you suspecting? And we would give that person, him or her, an idea of what we were looking for as a result of this investigation, what our main questions were, what our secondary, and let him go from there. It's kind of like, I was an FBI pilot for a while. Not all agents are pilots, and you don't want agents who are not pilots in the cockpit because they know more about that part of it. And the same way with polygraphers. I wasn't a trained polygrapher, so I shouldn't get involved with that. But with the process, or I'm sorry, with the actual administration of it. But the agents are involved heavily with the process.
and do they just call you after and say, "Okay, we just wrapped up," and they, were honest or weren't honest?
Uh, they will come out sometimes mid post interview to get a cup of coffee or something and say, let's talk, because I think, this person's, you know, not all where you would like them to be. Uh,
Interesting.
and so it's a very, it is so subjective. It is not an objective test. And again, it is only an investigative tool, but it can be an investigative tool that is useful in eliciting truth from somebody even after the test.
With any of the cases you worked, did anyone take the test and not and seem truthful, but later end up being a suspect, being someone responsible?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
I had somebody who, because I believe they were a psychopath, they didn't have um, the same response, physical responses to stress, lying, or even harm to other people. It just didn't stress them out that much. It didn't, it didn't, like a guitar string. It didn't vibrate with them, and so I've had that, and then that person later confessed in the post interview, and so these things happen.
What kind of case was it?
It was a domestic terrorism case where somebody had provided material support to kill someone.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, it's do you know Tracy Walder? She's on News Nation sometimes. She's a former FBI agent, but also was in the CIA. Um,
Okay, I know several of those hybrid agents, but I
Yeah,
don't
you
remember.
might know her if you saw her, but I interviewed her a couple weeks ago. We were talking about polygraphs, and she mentioned to me that she actually failed her polygraph to get into the CIA, and how she went and cried, and she just didn't want to go back, and my career is ruined. And they said, no, no, just come back tomorrow, it'll be okay. She went back the next day and did it, and it came back fine or whatever. And I don't know what part like they were asking her about or whatever, but she was just saying
Well,
she was kind of laughing about it, like
yeah, it's hard to laugh on
yeah,
those,
yeah.
but
Maybe
I,
she can
I
laugh about it
know.
now. She wasn't laughing then.
Yeah, it certainly was an excellent polygrapher, because if she what it came up with is that she had tested as deceptive or less than truthful, and somehow the polygrapher felt that it was a false positive for deception, and it takes a very skilled person. I've seen people who I believe were absolutely honest and qualified for the FBI, who failed an FBI polygraph, and it still bothers me to this day, because those people would have been great agents, and I think it might have been the polygrapher's fault. Might have been the polygrapher's fault. But yeah, I've had problems on polygraphs because I was overseas working Al Qaeda in Pakistan and all around the world there. I had information that could have been very damaging. So every year or two, I had to get polygraphed. And one of the questions was, have you divulged classified information to anybody who shouldn't have had it? And my problem was, there are certain things, certain paragraphs where the middle name of somebody might be classified, or a location, or if you combined this bit of information with this bit of information and a date, would that make it classified? And so I said, and I explained that to the polygrapher. And so we changed the question to, have you intentionally, with malice, intent, and intent, divulged classified information? No, not at all.
And
I
then
said,
you feel, yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. And my mind keeps going to, like, whenever I go out of the country and I'm coming back through customs and I have, and when they ask for your passport and everything. And I mean, I have nothing to hide. I'm just coming home. I always get a little nervous. Like I don't even know how to explain it. I always just feel a little bit like, oh God, I'm about to get in trouble for something. Like,
Right.
you know
You
what I
don't even
mean?
have to explain it. That's
Yeah.
exactly what. Now imagine you come in off that plane and they hook you up to a polygraph,
Right.
and now you've just jacked the stress up through the roof. So polygraphers are aware of that, that sometimes the most innocent people have the strongest physical respiration, blood pressure. They have the strongest reactions to the questions. That doesn't mean strong deception um, or deception of any kind. It just might mean, and a good polygrapher will understand this, that they are very stressed out by taking the test. And sometimes innocence makes you more stressed, because you say, what could I have done?
Right.
It, the guilty person knows exactly what they did.
Yeah, that's a good point. That makes me feel better about my always being nervous and
You should feel good about it.
yeah, okay, good. And just my last question, Steve. The sheriff, Sheriff Nanos from Pima County, there's some rumbling, that the Board of Supervisors, and sheriffs is a powerful position. Obviously, you're elected in Arizona. No one can take you out as sheriff. But the supervisors of the county who are elected also control the budget. And there's some word, some of them are just not happy with the sheriff right now, not happy with the investigation, not happy with the public perception of what's going on. And I'm just wondering, should we give the sheriff a break right now? I mean, we're, 40 some days in, and just see how things move forward? Or do you think it's fair to be critical of the sheriff based on what you know of how things have gone so far?
Well, I think it's fair for every law enforcement executive, as well as the agents and the deputies and the detectives, to be held accountable for their job performance. And there are people, you know how they say in basketball, there are players who are just not made for the playoffs. They play all year just fine, but when the playoffs come, they just fold. And because they can't take the stress, or it's a level of competition above where they're capable. And while I'm not saying this is the case with Sheriff Nanos at all, it is possible that he was an acceptable, a serviceable sheriff, but didn't have the necessary skills to handle an investigation like this. And he might have the investigative skills, but he didn't have the liaison skills. I don't think he has effective liaison skills. He doesn't have public relations skills. And he had allegedly, but I think there's a lot of anecdotal information, a chip on his shoulder about the FBI. And by the way, I get that. The FBI put a lot of chips on people's shoulders. but you can't let that interfere when somebody's life is on the line. And it reminds me, when you go into the executive program with the FBI, some of the first training you get is in front of people interviewing you on camera. It is not just that you are managing an investigation, because now you're managing the press, you're managing interactions, excuse me, with other agencies that you may not want to work with. I can tell you, I've done that a few times. And so it's a holistic thing. And I think there is, regardless of where we are, we were talking the other day, a bunch of agents, and we just can't figure out why it hasn't been solved. And it's not because we think we're smarter than the agents. We just don't know what is the handicap, because there is one. If there wasn't some kind of roadblock here, they would have solved it. And I trust these agents, and I trust the teams they're on. So we're curious about what happened in the investigation. And if you look at it, some of the things that happened are interagency rivalry, at least by one agency, and a lot of public relations gaffes. And so I think when something has not worked to plan, you have to look at what mistakes were made. And there's one person where a lot of those mistakes originated.
So you think there was a roadblock in the investigation? You don't think the reason it's not solved is just because whoever did this was so good at covering, or was so lucky?
It was I think both. I'm just saying that it could be a combination of interagency rivalry, which stifled the free flow of information, plus I would say the perpetrators getting lucky because they didn't seem to be all that competent. When you show me somebody who's wearing his gun in the wrong holster in his crotch outside the pants, and he's trying to cover up a Ring camera with leaves,
Yeah.
you've shown me somebody who is not Lex Luthor. So I think if they didn't get if there's a thing that's keeping them away from finding the person, it's a combination of interagency lack of cooperation and the luck of the bad guy. And it might be luck because the kidnapping may not have been the prime reason to do this for this crime, and that may be throwing off all the investigative results so far.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, Steve.
Thank you.
As always, I really appreciate Steve for taking the time to talk with me. His insight is so interesting. He had such an amazing career. Something else I wanted to share with you guys is these are some new videos from today. The memorial outside Nancy's house was mostly yellow flowers, and as you can imagine, the heat and just when you have flowers outside that people left behind, there are a lot of them that are now dying. And the neighbors organized and are just kind of getting rid of some of the dead flowers. Neighbors were asked to each just go over and collect a bag of dead flowers. And it's just such a nice neighborhood, and the people love Nancy so much. I just thought this was kind of touching that they're trying to kind of take care of the memorial. Some of the neighbors sent me these videos. Everybody kind of moves on, but if you live right in that neighborhood, this is, a house that you pass every single day. And imagine, you're driving to and from home every day, passing Nancy's house. It's hard to get out of your mind what happened and the fact that it's still unsolved. And again, there's just wonderful people that live around Nancy's house, who I got to know pretty well, who I stay in touch with. Obviously, they're keeping me posted on what's going on in the neighborhood. So I'm thinking of all of them, and just still... and I'm not just saying this, I am really hopeful that this will be solved. If I had to bet, I would say it will be solved based on everything I know. I just think it's going to take time, as you heard Steve also say. So I'll stay on it. I'm working on a couple of other projects behind the scenes, a couple of other new episodes unrelated to Nancy Guthrie that I'll have for you in the next couple of days or week, things that I've been working on that are important to me. But I am going to stay on Nancy every day too, just because, when little things drip out, you guys have followed me for a while. I kind of call them nuggets. When little nuggets come out, I know you guys are interested, and I just want to make sure to keep the case in the I guess headlines, as you would say, just because I'm just not good at moving on from things like this that I become very invested in. So I'll keep you guys posted with the latest. As always, appreciate all your support and for subscribing to the channel.
All right. Good luck to Brian Enton for sharing that information there. It's pretty cool how the neighbors are cleaning up the area and whatnot. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. That conversation that they was having. Pretty interesting. Anyway, I'm gonna get up out of here. I just wanted to bring that to y'all real quick this evening. It's not really too much going on in this case. So, something happened there. But yeah, see what's going on in the hood and yeah.
Stever said he came to USA from Germany. Yeah, is that the same Steve? Anne Marie Canada says my condolences to Misty. Sending hugs to Misty. Thank you, Christy. User JC7050, thanks for the comment. BR621, is that the same house where lights were on? Morning Nancy went missing, the lights looked like they were on a hill. Yeah, the light conversation is, he's running his drone. The light conversation is difficult because people have been saying all kinds of different things. Welcome in, BC. Welcome in, Broken. Hello from Lexington, North Carolina. We really like watching. Keep up the great work. Gracie, thank you for subbing. That is the construction house, not the rental house. The people that moved, the neighbors said that they didn't really fit the bill of what there was like an elderly person, but what we know is the FBI was definitely looking into them. The shark cam took flight. The rental house were the headlights on. Well, see, people are saying there's headlights, but that hasn't been confirmed. That hasn't been confirmed as far as if that's the truth. She's going into the house. I thought she was going into the house. Please talk about why wheelbarrow is in that flower bed this whole time in the cul-de-sac. That's what a lot of people do out here in Tucson is they put old tools, old antique stuff, and it's called yard art. Have you ever heard of yard art?
Not bad. I had y'all
Really
looking at me all this time.
Just,
sorry about that.
Just to humanize the situation, it would be nice for
they got the drone out.
Them to maybe
That's what it is.
A joint statement. I mean, he doesn't have to. It's just, it might help. I'm just saying it might help humanize the situation. You know, they are humans. They are grieving, and it might help them go, you know what, I talked to the public. Neighbor's gonna get local again. Mark's up with the drone. He just went up for a second. He brings it down. He doesn't do long drone sessions. Thanks for keeping us posted. Don't forget, yell Cybertruck when it goes by in memory. I don't know what that means. But thank you for the comment. Brian Enton is still doing investigations and interviews. Yeah, he said in the video he's still 100% committed to this case. Does anyone say anything about all the elderly people that are missing in the area? Anytime an elderly person has gone missing, I'm posting it. If you want to send me any other elderly people here in Tucson that are missing, I would like to share that with the community. If you look at Google Maps, it seems that house looks straight down onto Nancy's. There used to be a lot of cars parked up there. Huh? That is an interesting. Thank you, Kenji.
And one of the neighbors said
Like
that
Jake was fishy. He was just overly nice and had 4 cameras in his face. He was working next door but came down Nancy's driveway.
oh yeah, that was that landscaper dude. He did look kind of suspect, but then again, you know what I'm saying, you got a bunch of cameras in your face and media here, media there, media everywhere.
The other guy with us is Mark the Shark. You can search on YouTube, Mark the Shark. Kiki, that's definitely a mission, is really help people build their channels in their states. So hopefully somebody's sitting home and going, you know, I see all this crime happening in my state. I'm gonna start a little page. As long as doesn't interfere with what else you're doing, I think it would be great for other people to bring awareness for every community, small towns, big cities. Are you talking about the sheriffs? They were at a house. I don't think it's a rental home. I do not think that is a rental home.
Pretty much how this channel got started. This channel was just really basically my personal channel.
Chat. Thank you. I love your coverage.
Turned into a true crime
The houses where people moved.
type of channel.
It may be nothing or something. Who knows?
I have several other channels as well.
One of them still comes to the neighborhood. Yeah, so that. If you guys want to rewind, I just interviewed the neighbors and they talked about those 3 neighbors. They were talking about that. It's hard to explain, but the neighbors who are very well versed on all the neighbors here said they didn't believe. One of them was kind of disabled. Another one was eccentric. Now, here's the thing is if Brian Enton is reporting on it, that means the investigators know about these people. Yeah, the house behind Nancy's, I believe, might be the heir. That's exactly it. That's it. Sleuth Intuition filmed that house the other day. Thank you, Sue. Personally, never experienced a kidnapping in my area or ever, and it's rare.
Well,
I mean, it is rare.
One of them houses there in that neighborhood at Airbnb. But I heard that once before. I don't know. Could be making stuff up.
So
But I
Seymour,
could
a
have sworn
retired
that I
FBI
heard something
agent.
like that before.
Spoke to Brian Enton about the FBI in the last 24 hours, asking neighbors about contractors and workers working in several houses under construction. Yeah, that's the big news of the day. Is the FBI is interviewing construction workers. Sandy, thank you. Have you had a chance to watch Mandy? Every time I hear of maintenance, I think it makes me cringe. Are you talking about Mandy on the YouTube or on TikTok? I did watch her three or four part series. Thank you, Ken G. Misty Saint, thank you. Yes, Judy, we are. We've had more activity today than we've had in a lot. Thank you. Thank you, Michael Ellis. I don't want to speak what the neighbor said, but if you guys rewind, you can hear what the neighbor said about the three people. And she just said, she just didn't give me a good impression that she thought it was them. But yeah, she did say that there was an eccentric guy there, maybe a hoarder. I didn't hear the scanner. I was hoping somebody would report that. Ooh, it's hot. But the sun is going down, so it's cooling off a little bit. Cybertruck in the house. Cybertruck in the house.
Hey guys, what's the latest?
I was hoping you had some information.
No,
No?
no.
You know, what's the latest is two sheriffs just came busting up the street, and then they went to the back of this house and they were looking around, and then they left, yeah. So there's still, FBI was over here talking to people. And
Crazy.
are you guys from Tucson?
We're from Phoenix. We're just staying down here, so we wanted to come by because I've been following the case. Like,
Oh, nice.
yeah.
I used to live up there, so yeah. It's it's definitely unfortunate, especially because you see it's not like a crime place.
I know. So what's your theory?
My theory is like burglary gone wrong.
Yeah.
Brianna Whitney, do you know who she is?
I've been following like, is it Mark Benton or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brianna Whitney, though, she's up in Phoenix with 3TV,
Oh yeah.
and she's a top crime reporter. So I would follow her though.
Brianna, yeah.
What do you guys think? What are your theories?
I think that someone intentionally took her, and I think they were gonna ask for a ransom, and it went wrong. And I think they didn't realize maybe what her health was when they took her, and something happened when she was in their care that they didn't anticipate, and they won't ever.
Oh, so you're thinking the ransom notes were real?
I do.
Okay, because that's what I've been asking is people, they kind of canceled out the ransom notes. Oh, I gotta stand
But I
up.
feel like it's the whole like Bitcoin thing because that is a huge thing with the cartel.
Yeah, well, and that's where it's just so much lack of information that everybody has two different. I have a couple different theories. If it was a lone wolf or if it was multiple people.
I think given like seeing this now, this is a long ways back off the main road, so you have to know exactly how you're getting in and out of here and do it pretty swiftly. So
Exactly.
it had to be someone. I mean, we've talked about before that we thought it was like someone worked for her, and
That's what they're
knew-
looking in.
And
Yep.
either had like a link to the cartel or something, but someone definitely, I think, knew. Yeah. I think it was someone who was close to her or had gotten close to her.
Yeah.
School worker, housekeeper.
I don't think it's ransom. I know a prosecutor down here,
Yeah.
and she's not saying much, but she doesn't think it's ransom. So
I don't think it is either. I think it's like I said, burglary gone wrong, home invasion. If you take the Guthrie name out of it, you just have an 84-year-old woman living
or
alone.
someone that came to fix her refrigerator and knew this
Right.
elderly woman lives alone.
But then why not burglarize her and then
Yeah.
just leave?
'Cause they're not-
Why take her?
Well, because they witnessed, they're witnesses, and the DNA of them is on her.
But do you think it would have been easier, like if they were robbing her, just to keep her in the bedroom?
Yeah. Like, but you know what I mean? Because they left.
That's what's so weird about it. It doesn't fit all the.
Possible.
No. Do these really have bulletproof windows?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to get one. I think I need a
My
cyber
husband
truck in my
absolutely
life.
loves it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's fine, but
Yeah.
he
Awesome.
loves it. Yeah.
You guys following on the channel 857 Tucson?
No.
No.
But we're
You
going
got
to.
6,000 people watching you.
Oh, perfect. Awesome.
857 Tucson.
Perfect. Thanks for chatting.
What was your guys' names?
Christy and Morgan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
Perfect. Thanks.
See you guys. Follow along. Get in the chat.
Okay.
All right. They came to pay
Pretty
their respects
interesting.
here to
Interesting
Nancy by driving
theory.
by. They just wanted to see the house up from Phoenix. Shout out to the Cybertruck girls. Nice ladies. One thinks the ransom notes are real. The other one didn't. And that's kind of where it's going. Is all
Okay,
kinds
so
of
they-
different
They had two
theories.
different opinions, two different theories.
Theories. I don't mean to repeat words, but we do have someone walking up on us, so. Thank you, Sunny. Sunny, hello. 33333. Thanks for your continuous coverage. Your knowledge of the area is very helpful. Thank you, Sunny. It does help in any city to have people that know about the city, about everything. Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. You're just an independent film guy too, or what?
Yeah,
Okay.
857 Tucson.
Okay. I'm
Damien.
Jamie Rucker. I'm from Iowa.
Oh, what brought you out here?
Well, she's on spring break and wanted to go somewhere, and so she wanted to go somewhere warm. And I got a cousin that lives down by Sonoma.
Sedona?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
So you guys just stopped by to kind of check the scene and
Yeah.
see what's going on?
she met Savannah
Oh, really?
when she was on the Today Show.
Oh,
She danced in the Macy's Day Parade.
oh,
2
nice.
years ago.
Awesome.
And
Very
so
cool.
That's the deal there.
So how long you out in Arizona?
Oh, we're gonna try to be back in Iowa, I think, on Sunday. For
Okay.
a couple more days.
So what do you think happened to Nancy? Have you got any just your opinion?
My opinion is she was targeted.
Targeted?
Somebody targeted her.
Why would they target her? You think for money or because of Savannah or
I hate to get political, but I think the Epstein files.
some people say Epstein files. Some people say that.
You know.
It's so
You know,
yeah, that's the thing.
That's not the
There's so many
first I've heard that.
Yeah.
That's not the first I've heard that.
It's one of those things that. I mean, you know as well as I do. Unless somebody's gonna try to steal her money, what's somebody want with a 80-year-old lady?
Yeah.
84-year-old lady, yeah.
Well, the thing is if she was a witness, they don't want her telling who did this, and maybe if their DNA was on her, they don't want to leave the body. People are saying, why don't they leave the body? Well, if they did, that would be a world of evidence for the investigators. So they might have done it because it was a robbery, burglary gone wrong. They freaked out freaked
We
out.
need to find out if
Let's go.
Nancy's been
Who knows? But that's
Like I said,
it's good to
to
hear
the
about it.
island, to the
it was
Epstein
an
Island.
idea for the news. I think somebody wanted to get some other news stories going.
Really?
That's
So you think that like somehow connected to the news?
Yeah.
Okay. They're leaving.
sounds like about right. Political.
She's only been here 3 minutes, ma'am. They're very sensitive.
Yeah. Wow.
They're very sensitive. Just yeah, they're neighbors. They have nothing better to do than drive by and make sure that people don't worry about it. You guys do your thing. It's not like you're it's a little overly overly.
It's not
So
the
you met
people's
Savannah.
fault.
And how was your experience? You said you were in the Macy's Days Parade.
Yeah, she was so nice.
So sweet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin used to be best friends with her back in because I was born here.
Sure.
And just a sweet fan. You know what I mean?
Without a doubt.
Good-hearted.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a very sad deal. You know, I mean, there again, I can't think that she's still alive at this point.
Yeah, it's hard,
I
but
mean, it'd be nice if she was,
yeah.
and if she could come back. But
Lots of people in the chat from Iowa saying hello from Iowa.
oh, really?
You got 6,600 watching.
Really?
Lots of people from Iowa. Let's see what city he said. No, he didn't say the city, but
Okay.
so we're just out here asking questions, waiting. We just had the sheriff roll up on a neighbor over here. I don't know why. Hoping every day. And something comes. I'm sure everyone's sitting around waiting. Well, if you guys want to follow the channel 857 Tucson on the YouTube.
Put that, type that in. Just go in Google search, and that way we can follow it.
Yeah, and if you guys have any theories, people are just sharing them.
So I guess she supposedly danced at one of the parades with Savannah.
Yep, we're live right now. We are live. Get in the chat. Everybody's saying, they're saying you're a pretty girl. So if that's your daughter, they're saying she's pretty. They're saying shout out from Iowa.
From all the way from Iowa.
Say hi to the chat.
Hi.
Are you from Iowa too?
I am.
Okay, we got some Iowa folks. See if we can get anybody. Probably someone's from your city. And what was your guys' names?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, Damien. Nice to meet you.
I'm Jamie.
Jamie. Elizabeth and Jamie from Iowa. Seeing if I get anyone from Iowa. Anybody from Iowa? Lots of other states. Oklahoma, New York. Yeah, Iowa. What part of Iowa?
Northeast Iowa.
Northeast Iowa.
But I go to school in Iowa City.
Really?
Yes.
And she's met Caitlin Clark too.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow, the basketball player?
There's a picture of my semi.
Whoa, what? How come the back's like that? Is that solar panel?
It's a hopper. It's just charcoal gray.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's a nice truck.
Oh, girl is enthused with how many people is viewing her.
Really?
Wow. As you can see on my hat,
It's at the Super.
Oh, nice.
Want to see? Oh, if it's anybody from Iowa City.
Anybody from Iowa City? They're saying you're beautiful, stunning.
Thank you.
We do have Sioux City, Iowa. Go Hawkeyes. Wilton, Iowa. We got a Wilton. Who is Mark spying on? I don't know what he's doing over there. 7,000 people watching you guys.
Northeast Iowa here.
Well, follow along, get in the chat.
Yeah.
You guys
Okay,
want to come?
I will.
And you guys,
My uncle used to have a house in Sun City, and years ago, I always used to come up.
She look like she should have a channel.
So
She's enthused.
my wife was working because she's like, oh, I'd love to go to Arizona, but she couldn't get off work. So
everybody's saying pretty, beautiful,
Thank
gorgeous.
you.
Central Illinois, that's not too far.
Ames.
There's an Iowa. I can't.
Ottumwa.
You know where that is?
Yep.
Ottumwa?
Yeah.
Fort Dodge. Fort Dodge, is that Iowa?
Yep.
Mhm. Independence.
Someone from UK.
Ooh.
wow.
Pella.
Okay.
Pella.
I know that.
Pella, Iowa.
Waterloo.
Being I'm a trucker, I know where all these.
Lots of
places are at.
Iowans.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, you ready
Well,
to go?
I'm ready.
Join the chat. Nice meeting
Yes.
you guys.
Nice meeting you again.
Nice
Nice
meeting you.
meeting you too.
Snoopy. Snoopy. Great folks, friendly, lots of friendly people coming out here. Safe travels. Told them to come in the chat and chat with you guys, so good old American, genuine people.
But anyway, that's the latest. FBI was there in the neighborhood, and that's it. The sheriff was there. A couple deputies went out there and questioned some of the neighbors, and that's what we got new. It's your boy Moses Beauchamp. Go.